YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on tonight's episode, yes tonight because the sun is going down. And that's because earlier today it was a scorcher. And when I put my equipment outside to work out, it immediately got too hot for me to even pick up. So I packed it away, did some family stuff instead, ran some errands, and now that I'm back, it's a lot cooler now, and I can get started. So let's pop into today's workout. Let's see what we got going on. Now for today's strength giant set, I'm doing the log clean and press. Picking it up off that big old tire, rolling it up to my shoulders, and then pressing. And in the beginning with this lightweight, I'm gonna start with some easy reps and just kind of rep it out from the top. But as I get heavier, then they'll turn into singles just to see where I'm at. And as I go up in weight on the log clean and press, I'm going to be doing something called the 6-way windmills, which is actually called a 3-way windmill, but because you have to do them on the left side and the right side, 3 plus 3 equals 6. So I call them 6-way windmills to work my shoulder mobility, my hip mobility, and to work my obliques. And I'm also going to be doing some jump roping in between for some conditioning, for some shoulder work, for some leg work, and most importantly for timing for that log clean and press. And that's going to be the strength giant set for today. Now there was 2 disadvantages that I was facing on today's workout. The first was my shoes were not correct. I have these shoes that are made to be stylish and to walk long distances and not to run in, to walk in. And those are not the best shoes to be under a really heavy log because I kind of move and sway to and from when I'm trying to clean it, and it makes it a lot harder to clean it, and it makes it a lot harder to stabilize that log at the very top. So I was missing my shoes. I couldn't find out where they were. And since I'm terrible at looking for stuff and my wife wasn't home to help me, then I didn't really know where my shoes were. So I had to put on these shoes, and I was already feeling a difference as I was going up in weight. And the second disadvantage that I had was my lower back and my hips and my legs has been experiencing some extreme fatigue lately. I feel like my upper body is getting a lot stronger, but for some reason, my lower body is experiencing a fatigue that I've never really felt before in my entire life. And no matter what I do, I've been looking at YouTube videos, I've been stretching, I've been doing mobility drills, I've been trying to strengthen my hips and my glutes and my lower back, been doing some spine activation drills. I've been trying to do everything, and it just doesn't seem to be helping. So I'm going to try to be unlocking that secret. And once I figure out the secret, good news, I'm going to share it with all of you because I'm not going to let this keep going on. I really need to get back to deadlifting and to back squatting heavy weight. And I really don't want to have this fatigue anymore. So once I unlock that secret, I'm going to gladly share it with you. Now, if you didn't notice on that last clean I did to my shoulders, it was very slow. And that's because of that lower body fatigue and the shoes that I mentioned earlier. But despite my better judgment, I decided to go for a PR and do 245 pounds. I thought if I could just get past the clean, I knew my shoulders would take over because they felt pretty good. But you could see I just was too slow on that clean, and it put me in a really bad position in order to press that overhead. So I ended up failing it. So I decided to pack that away. But because my shoulders felt really good, I was like, you know what? Let's move on to like the Circus Dumbbell. That would be a better option. Since I still had a lot left in the tank on the shoulders, I didn't want to waste it, and I also wanted to hit a PR today. So the idea was to start small with this regular loadable Circus Dumbbell and just hitting it for 1 rep on each side. So hitting it with the right arm and then taking it down and then hitting it with the left side. I just thought I'd be able to get to a really decent weight today, and I didn't want to waste the opportunity for my shoulders to see how strong they've gotten from all of the dumbbell overhead pressing I've been doing in the seated position. And I kept in the same format of the 6-way windmills and the jump ropes as well. And here I am kind of demonstrating, this is a loadable Circus Dumbbell, and I'm basically going to be using this dumbbell to get to the higher dumbbell that I want to lift today, which is that Rogue Monster Bell, which is a lot harder to lift for many reasons. This one, because I have those wrist guards on my arm, it's a little bit easier to dig my wrist into the side of that sharp edge there on that dumbbell and to press it a lot easier. With the Circus Dumbbell that I'm going to use, which is called the Monster Rogue Bell, that one has a way thicker handle, and it also doesn't have any edges to like really dig in deep there. So you really have to have a lot more shoulder stability, both from the start position and at the top. But this was moving pretty smooth, and I was very happy with this because I knew that my shoulders had a lot left in the tank, and I really wanted to see how they were going to perform. And I felt like if I had cleaned that log correctly and I didn't have my lower body fatigue and the shoes that I was wearing, then once it got up to my shoulders, I was going to be able to press it with ease overhead. Just because my shoulders was feeling really good. And even here, like 120 pounds, this is something to not like sneeze about. And it was flying up on both the right and the left hand side. So I kind of knew like, hey, this might be a good opportunity for me to hit the Rogue Monster Bell with both arms. So I started with the right, which is 130 pounds, a lot harder to lift in my opinion. I got set and that went up with ease on the right hand. So now here comes the moment of truth, which is the left arm. It's the first time I'm actually going to hit this with my left arm since my bicep surgery on my left arm. And that went up with ease, enough for me to even pose. So that felt pretty good. And the moment I was done with that, I immediately moved on to the assistance giant set, which is going to be 3 rounds. And I was going to do the log incline bench because it's out here. So the idea was to do a 10 rep max. So I started with 165 pounds, and then I did 10 reps with 215 pounds, which you can see gets a lot slower because my shoulders are super fatigued from all that shoulder pressing I was doing. And then I did my 10 rep max with 245 pounds. I actually got like 9.5 reps because you'll be able to see once I get to, this is my 9th rep right here. When I got to my 10th, oh, it was a fight. So I almost went to failure on that, which was pretty good. And then in between those sets, I was doing something called spine deadlifts, which is just basically trying to activate my spine a little bit more. I saw this on one of those videos on reducing lower body fatigue, so I was just giving it a try. So this is something that I was doing in between the log incline bench, and I just stuck with the jump ropes as well because that was the easiest thing to do. Then I moved on to the accessory giant set, which was 3 rounds, and I was doing tricep push-ups on that log, mainly because it looks cool. And then I moved over and did some side delt raises with that Circus Dumbbell out to use those heavy braided bands, and then ended with face pulls as well for overall shoulder mobility. And that was this giant set for the day. All right, YouTube, that's going to conclude it for tonight's workout. And as you can see, I got some work cut out from me. I got to put that big old dumbbell away, and then I also got to put this log away and that dumbbell over there and all this bands and weights, and I got some work cut out for me, so I'm gonna get started on that. Thanks for popping in tonight and joining me on my workout. I'll see you next time. Thank you.